All right, so on a few videos ago, I went out to a job site in the good old reliable milk truck, and we had to throw everything inside the van, right? So if we come over here to the ProMaster 1500, this one is fully decked out, right? It's fully set up. It's not the most optimal way, but it's fully set up. It has it has everything that you need in here to get the job done, right? We have a massive generator, we have a massive extractor, we have a steamer, reels, polishers, anything that you can think of. We have everything here in this van. Now, when we threw everything in the HHR, right? It was just I was grabbing things from the shop to go to the job site. Now, if you can easily tell that the amount of work to throw everything into the HHR, and then once you get to the job site, you have to bring everything down and move it to the customers to where the vehicle is at, is a completely different setup. So for years, I had my good reliable HHR over here, right? So it was good for what it was. It was good for what it is. But I'm telling you, there's going to be so much limitations when you're working with a smaller vehicle. Now, that's not this. So when you're just getting started, you should 1000% work with your personal vehicle. Like, people are like, hey, what's a good truck? What's a good van? Dude, do you have a personal vehicle? Is it a sedan, a Wrangler? Is it an S10? Is it a Honda Civic? Whatever you have, you start with that. And to let anyone else tell you otherwise is completely false, because with whatever personal vehicle that you have, that is more than enough to get started, because you're not going to have the big extractor, the big vacuum, the big generator, the polishers, the pressure water. You're not going to have any of that. So just start with what you have. So here, look, in 2011, it was with my 2003 Toyota Matrix XRS, and then in 2014, I upgraded to this 2009 Chevy HHR panel. And look, there's not a lot of space here. There is generally not a lot of space. So when I was running this unit for however many years, I couldn't put reels, I couldn't put a water tank, I couldn't put a pressure washer, I couldn't put a big compressor, I couldn't do anything because it's such limited on space. But because you're limited on space, you really have to look at and say, okay, what is the actual essential things that I need to bring with me in order to get the job done? So being limited on what you can bring gets you more creative to really say, hey, what exactly do I need to get the job done? So let's say you're starting your business off, right? You don't have that many customers, but you're like, you know what? I want to go all out. I really want to make sure that I have the best foot forward, right? So you go and get the ProMaster, right? And then you're saying, well, I got the ProMaster now, so I need to deck it out. So now you're gonna go inside your van, right? And you're gonna be like, okay, well, I have all this space here now, so I need to make sure that I have everything. I need to make sure that I put that I maximize my space. So you start buying stuff. You start buying this, and you start buying that, and you get this, and you get that, and you start throwing stuff, and you get like a $10,000 loan, and you just keep on buying and buying and buying. But the problem is, you have no baseline of what you can do. You have no baseline of what you need. You have no baseline of the vehicles that you service, the amount of work that it requires, the amount of tools that you need. You have no baseline of what your actual operations will look like. You're just assuming, yes, I need that. Yes, I need this. Yes, I need that. Yes, I need this. And you're just assuming and assuming and assuming. And the reality is, once you actually get out there to the field and start servicing customers, which that in itself is already a huge problem, because you're not just gonna get customers the next day. You're gonna be like, oh wow, I have all this stuff and I'm not using most of it, right? And yes, you can look at my video or someone else's videos and be like, okay, well, they have that, they have this, they have that. And yes, it might be working for them, but it will be different for you. So remember, for 5 years, I didn't have this. For 5 years, I had everything in my HHR panel, and I only brought with me what, like, imagine, look at the difference between this big old thing and the HHR panel. Completely different things, but with going through the process of a smaller vehicle to a larger vehicle allows you to see. It's like if you give someone like a painter, right? And you're like, hey, you have every color at your disposal, every brush at your disposal, do the best painting that you can. But what if you tell that person, hey, I'm giving you one brush and 2 colors, make the best painting? Which one requires more creativity? If you have every single brush and color, or if you have one brush and 2 colors, which one forces you to have more creativity? So that's the thing I really want to point out with mobile units. It applies the same to shops as well, but if you're at home garage, it's a bit more lenient. It's your garage, yada yada yada. But when it's a mobile van and you're like, okay, well, I want to start off on the right foot, I want to go get a van. The van means nothing. The tools mean nothing, right? Because the main thing of your business is what? Getting customers, and making money. So the vehicle itself is just a mode of transportation. Yes, it would be better if you have a truck versus a sedan. And yes, it'd be better if you have a big old van versus a truck. But the thing that I'm getting at is it's not a big deal. So personally, me, I do not like a truck to haul a trailer, right? Like I'm not a fan of hauling a trailer around as a mobile unit. But if you have a truck and that's what you can work with right now, then you use the truck to start your services, to start your business, right? So in the beginning, you don't need a trailer. You just throw everything in the back. You throw it in the spare seat that you have. If you have a sedan, hey look, it's not ideal, it's not optimal, it's going to suck. You will be limited on space and what you can do in your setup. But look, if that's what you have, that's what you start with. You don't be like, okay, let me look on Auto Trader for a little hoopty of a truck, for a small size van. No, you start with your sedan. You start with your Wrangler. You start with whatever vehicle, because I'm telling you, starting is just saying, okay, I have the basic tools and products, I have the vehicle, let me go clean a car. Like that's as far as it goes. You don't need to get overcomplicated and be like, yeah, so I need to make sure I have $6,000 worth of tools and products. Like it's none of that, right? Like I started with a 2003 Toyota Matrix, then upgraded because you can't really. I never got a big unit because it would literally take up half the space. If you look at when we put everything into the HHR panel the other day, you can see how easily it gets maxed out, how easily that it gets filled up, and there's no room for anything. And you guys want to complain about, oh well, I only have this, I only have. It's like, dude, some of you guys have a truck, some of you guys have a van already, and I was doing way more cars and having way more customers with a much smaller setup than you do with a bigger setup. So don't be like, oh well, I need the van, I need the. No, you don't. You're just making an excuse, right? So if whatever van you have, whatever vehicle, you start. So another big thing is, yes, but when you can upgrade, you do want to upgrade, because look, we have the vacuum on the rail, we have the extractor on the rail, we have the air hose on the rail, we have the electrical cord on the rail, we have our pressure washer on the rail, we have the AR Blue Clean 630, we have a 8750 generator, we have a 4-gallon rigid air compressor, and we don't have to bring anything down. Once we get to the job sites, all we do is get this and loosen this up a little bit, start pulling this out, and we start. Obviously, we turn on the machines. I'm not gonna do that right now, but that's all we do, right? With the HHR panel, when I was growing the business, right, it was none of that. It was literally bringing everything down, walking to the customer, plugging the electrical cord into the socket, going back to the vehicle, turning it on, and working. And let me tell you, it is cumbersome. It is inefficient. It will slow you down. That's not the type of setup that you want to have if you're really trying to grow your business, right? But again, it's all a process. Do you need reels right now? No, because I didn't have any for the first 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years in business, yet I was still getting customers and still making money. But when you get a chance, doing things like this, like upgrading your reels, upgrading to a bigger extractor, upgrading to a bigger generator, it helps out immensely. But look, don't worry, don't sweat the little details of like, oh, well, I don't have the space right now. Yeah, it's cool. Keep on building your business, keep on growing your business, keep on working on your business, and you'll get to the point, because I'm telling you, it is extremely cumbersome to have to get all the equipment down every single time. For one vehicle, if you look at the other video that I posted where I was explaining the differences between like a $100 little shampooer to a $2,000 extractor, is that on a single one-off instance, you can make any setup with any tools and products will work, right? If you're gonna do a wash and wax on one vehicle for the day, you can work out of your sedan, you can work out of your Wrangler, you can work out of your S10, right? But now if you have to do 2 vehicles, it gets a bit more cumbersome, because now putting everything up, putting everything down, and remember, like if you don't have a dedicated work truck, that means in the beginning of the day, you're putting everything in your truck, in your garage. Then you're driving to the customer location. Then you're gonna bring everything down and hook everything up. Once you're done, you're gonna clean everything up, put everything back in the truck. And let's be real here. The way you put it back into the truck is not the same way as you did when you first left your house, right? So it's gonna be a bit more disorganized. And then you gotta go to the second location, bring everything down, plug everything up, work, throw it, finish up, then put everything back into the truck. And let's say you're just done, you're gonna go back home, you're gonna put everything down, clean everything up, and do it all again tomorrow. Now let's say if you're not, now can you do that with 3 vehicles, 4 vehicles? It gets a lot more cumbersome doing that on a daily basis where you're putting things up, putting things down, putting things up, putting things down. It gets very, very, very cumbersome, and it's just so inefficient. So over time, yes, you want to get to the point where like everything is a lot more efficient and things are running a lot smoother and you're able to have a better setup. But in the beginning, you don't need that. And by beginning, I mean like what, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, right? That could still be the beginning. But at some point, once, like, there is a limitation to just working out of your sedan, out of a small truck. At some point, depending on your goals, yes, you do want to upgrade to get not a van like a ProMaster 1500, but like a smaller size van will make a difference in your operations. In my HH truck, could I carry a canopy? Could I set a canopy up for the heat? No, there's no room for a canopy in there. Like, it's impossible to fit a canopy in there. I think we have 2 canopies. So with a bigger van, you're able to carry what? More air. Like for us, for instance, I can carry like 10 times more of what I had in my milk truck versus what we have here in this van. So it's a world's difference having a proper setup to where driving in it, like to driving your personal vehicle or a smaller vehicle. Like yes, like there is going to be a huge difference. But that shouldn't stop you from anything. You don't have to get to this point before you get started. I would highly recommend against it. All right, it's actually a few days later. I forgot to shoot the outro, so we're doing it right now. It's been terrible weather here in Houston. Back to back to back to back days of rain. And not like, it's like hardcore rain, drizzle rain. No rain, hardcore rain, all in the same day. So it's been unfavorable results, or weather I should say. So anyways, that's gonna wrap up this video. Hopefully you took something away. Let me know your comments, questions, concerns. I have another video coming out on the setup, I believe, but this video was ready beforehand, so I'll post this one first. Check in the description box down below for any of the links to any of the tools or products that I mentioned, plus the links to the guides, podcast, and course that's releasing this Friday. I'll talk to you guys on the next one.